You can get a pro quality drum set for $1,000. This drum set behind me, if you priced it out and purchased it new online, cost you well over $3,000. Drummers spend too much time worrying about what gear they have, what their favorite artists are playing. I'm here to tell you, save your money. You can spend $1,000, and whether you're a gigging drummer, a studio owner looking for a house drum set, or just a new drummer that doesn't want to waste time with a crappy drum set, you can get a pro quality kit for $1,000. It's no surprise drums are expensive. A lot of drummers think you have to spend a ton of money to get something that sounds good. That's not the case. The secret is buy your drums used. I recommend looking at Facebook Marketplace, or if you live somewhere more rural without a big population of people, check out guitarcenter.com used. Get on Marketplace and you can set your notifications to some of your favorite drums and drum kits. So when they pop up for sale, they will notify you and you can be the first one to grab them. The good deals go quick, so you have to know what you're looking for. Most experienced drummers and drummers that are selling really high-end gear tend to sell their drums and cymbals separately. Now, what you're looking for is someone selling an entire drum set complete. This is where you're going to get the best deal, and you can take some of the pieces that are less than ideal, such as the cymbals, and you can sell them separately. I was able to find this Pearl Export drum set. It is the new version. Was able to get it for $200. Now, if you don't see a Pearl Export, I would recommend checking out any of the big brands. You've got stuff from Tama, from Yamaha, from PDP, even Mapex. There's a ton of big brands out there, but just focus on the big name brands. $200 for the Pearl Export, and I was able to sell the ZBT cymbals that came with to essentially wash out the price I paid and get this shell pack and some of the hardware for free. The ZBT cymbals are not terrible, and if you're just practicing or you're just at the house, it's really not that big of a deal. I would argue that a set of ZBT cymbals versus some high-end cymbals in a mix with a full song, with bass, vocals, guitar, the average person's probably not going to be able to tell very well. But in this case, I wanted all high-end cymbals, as high-end gear as I could get. Once you've secured your kit, the first thing and the most overlooked thing is the throne. I've had rock and sock thrones. I've had Tama thrones. In this case, I found a DW 5000 tractor throne for $60. $60, super high quality, super comfortable. Don't skimp on your throne. You're going to be sitting on this for hours. It's going to be your foundation for your playing. You get a crappy throne, you're not going to be having a good time. You get a nice, squishy, supportive throne, you're going to love playing. It's a good foundation. So go find a good throne. Check out some of the big brands. Check out Rock and Sock. Check out DW. Check out Tama. They make some really good stuff. Once you got your throne, next thing you do is you've got to get some good pedals. Most of my career playing drums over the past 20 years, I've had DW pedals. I've had the 7000, I've had the 9000. I tried Tama, Iron Cobra, and Speed Cobra. Wasn't a big fan of those. So for this time around, I went with the DW 5000 Accelerator single pedal. Now, this is a very personal thing. You may like different pedals. You may have experience with other stuff. So for pedals, stick with what you like and what you're comfortable with and what you can play good with. But for this pedal, got it for $140 with the stickers on it. It looks like it was barely ever played. $140 retail was over $250 plus tax. Really good deal on the pedal. Once you got your pedals situated, then you got to get your hardware and your stands. With the original drum set I purchased, it had an entry-level Pearl hi-hat stand, which I will be keeping for now. It gets the job done. It's not great, but that's something I'll be looking to upgrade. And it also came with a PDP 800 series boom stand, which is decent and it gets the job done. So I have a total of 4 stands back here. I was able to find a DW 3000 series boom stand for $60 used. I found another Pearl heavy duty top of the line stand for another $60. And then the snare drum stand also came with the kit, so that was essentially free. So we got a total of 4 stands. We've got our snare stand, we've got our hi-hat stand, we've got the pedals, our throne, the shells. Probably the last but not least thing, you've got to get your cymbals locked in. After looking for hours on Marketplace for deals on cymbals, I noticed that the most frequent and most common cymbal you're going to find a deal on is the Zildjian A and A Custom and the Sabian AA and AAX. Now believe me, I'd love to get a set of Zildjian Ks or Meinl Byzance, but you just don't see people selling those as frequently. For this example, I found a 14-inch set of Zildjian A Customs that was being sold with a package with a 16.5-inch Zildjian A special release crash, which I've never heard of. And the total was $220 for the hi-hats and the crash cymbal. The 14-inch hi-hats are a common size. You've got your 13s and your 15s, and they're both good sounding options, but you can't go wrong with a set of 14s. They fit for most applications. The A Customs are bright sounding, they cut through, they're loud. I play rock music mostly, so they work really well for that. If you're doing jazz or some other type of music, they might not be perfect for you, but I think I'll be keeping these A Customs for a long time to come. Typically only play larger size crash cymbals, but I was able to find this crash cymbal, and something about the size, it opens really quickly, it's thin, it's pliable, it's bright, it's explosive, it's all the things I want out of a crash cymbal, and apparently it's very rare. I haven't not seen many of these special release crashes for sale. This is another keeper. I love this. It's my left side crash. Definitely recommend getting 2 crashes, so for those bigger parts you can crash both at the same time. I've had a lot of 18-inch crashes, so I know what a good sounding cymbal is. With this one, I went with a 18-inch A medium thin crash, found for $120. Retail on these is way higher up, so again, we're getting great deals on these used. I've owned a Zildjian K18 thin, and I would argue that this A medium thin sounds almost the same, almost just as good for a fraction of the cost. There's plenty of examples of these out there for $100 to $150. Would definitely check this out. I do typically like the naturally finished cymbals for crashes, have a little bit more of the complex overtones, so really happy with this choice. Got to have a ride cymbal. Ride cymbal is going to give you those stick definition, ping sort of parts, along with a big crash if you need it. If you're not sure what ride cymbal to get, you can't go wrong with the A Sweet Ride 21-inch. This has a good combination of wash, a really big sounding crash, has just enough ping and a cutting bell to pretty much cover all your bases. Now, where it does fall short is if you're playing a big, loud song where you need a really cutting stick definition for a part. It really doesn't have that. It is a little bit of a washier, kind of jazzier sounding cymbal. So ideally, I would maybe have a different ride, or even have 2 rides, depending on if I'm crashing it or riding it. But if you're just going to grab one, you want to cover all your bases, can't go wrong with the Zildjian A Sweet Ride. This is the new label. It's got the larger A decal on it. It's a little bit thinner, a little bit sweeter sounding than the original release that came out in the 90s. Picked this one up on Guitar Center with shipping and tax including for about $250. They are for sale locally, but I wasn't able to find one quick enough, so I ended up getting this one off Guitar Center. Definitely check that out. Don't need to get a China cymbal. They're not for everybody. Maybe that's not in the genre that you're playing, but I personally love having one. It's a nice trashy accent. It's a nice flavor, nice color to add into the palette. So I found this 18-inch Wuhan, and this was a cymbal that I played when I was a lot younger. It was kind of like the go-to cheap China cymbal. It's actually made in China, and it's just the definition of a nice trashy China cymbal. Found this for, I think, $30 or $40, and seriously, how do you go wrong for that price, right? So I got a cheap China cymbal. It's a little bit beat up, but it gets the job done. Gives me that trashy accent when I need it. All right, let's talk about the pros and cons of the Pearl Export. So when you're piecing together this $1,000 drum set, like I said before, the drums probably matter the least because you can get a good set of heads, you can get it tuned up, and you can make a cheap sounding drum set sound very good. Now for the cymbals And the hardware, you can't really change that. It's going to be what it is when you buy it, so you've got to buy the best stuff you can get. So the pros. The finish is really pretty. It's a black cherry glitter. I love glitter, sparkle finish drums. They pop when the lights hit them on stage. I like red, so I really like this finish. They don't make it anymore, so if you see this one, it's definitely a good option to go with. I think the sizes are excellent. So it's a 22-inch kick, a 7x10-inch rack tom, 8x12-inch rack, and a 16x16-inch floor. And I think it's a 5.5x14 snare drum. If you're looking for a drum set, the 22-inch kick is a really safe bet because it's not too big, it's not too small. Sometimes the 24s make it a little bit hard to mount your rack toms and to mount all your cymbals. The 20 sometimes can lack a little bit of the projection, even though it is a good size. I recommend just sticking with the 22, and can't really go wrong with that. I really like on this export how it does have the thinner rack toms. It does make it easier to mount, and it's sort of the smallest size where you can still get good projection and a good tone out of them. For the floor tom, the 16x16 is a little bit harder to control. You're probably going to need some dampening. You might need a little bit of a thicker top head to help keep it under control and dampen it slightly, but overall, the shells are excellent. I believe they're made out of a blend of poplar and Philippine mahogany, so you get a nice blend of bright and warmth. I personally love mahogany. I also love maple, but for this kit, for the price, very impressed. It uses the same shell technology that the higher-end pearls use, where they essentially form the shells in a very perfect, strong fashion to make sure they maintain their round shape over the long period of time. I think Pearl is one of the best selling drum sets for a reason. The Pearl Export, they sell a ton of these things. They're out there. You can't go wrong with the Pearl Export. Cons on the drum set, I would say the one big con is I really don't like the rack tom mounting system. So it's this L-arm, and it uses like a tooth on the adjustability, so you can never really get it the way you want it perfectly. Other drum sets use sort of a ball and clamp, and they're infinitely adjustable. You can get them perfect. With this one, it also sort of sits on the tension rods, and it makes it a little bit harder to tune the drum. So overall, that's probably the weak part of this kit for me, would be the tom mounting hardware. But other than that, all the other hardware, the hoops, the bass drum claws, all that stuff is really solid. Throw some good heads on here, and you're going to be off to the races with this Pearl Export. So there you have it, everybody. This drum set I pieced together for under $1,000. I want to prove to you and to myself you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can save your thousands of dollars. You can go buy some guitar gear, buy a new computer, buy a new Xbox, pay your rent, whatever. But $1,000 gets you a lot. Spend more time playing the drums, practicing, go join a band, spend less time worrying about what gear you have, and just have fun with it. $1,000 pro quality drum set.